Well, that was a championship-altering last restart. Holy cow, Tyler Reddick gets the win, as well as Clay Millican coming right in here, U.S. Nationals winner, joining us right here in the Nonsense Garage. It's going to be a wild, wild show. So buckle up. Let's stack some pennies.
Stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
It tastes like gasoline, rubber, and victory.
We're just out here stacking pennies.
Hey guys, welcome back. Stacking Pennies here. Corey the Joy, driver of the number 51 Ford Mustang, alongside Ryan Flores, front tire changer of the runner-up Ryan Blaney Ford Mustang. It's tough, buddy.
Yeah,
It's tough.
we had a good day. We'll get into that. How was your day?
Not that good.
Fords did not unload particularly fast. Any Ford, especially
At one point in time, about halfway through the race, all of like the really, I call them non-affiliated Fords, the 34, the 38, the couple Stewart Haas cars, there was like 6 of them all in a row from 25th to 32nd. And I think the amount of speed that the Fords have at a speedway, they qualify well. They have they have less drag than the other cars. They also give up some downforce, and downforce is the end-all, be-all here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. So I think that really showed up this weekend, except for the couple guys that really nailed it, i.e. you guys. I think you guys were the only Ford that was in the mix for the race.
Yeah, I did not look at anything other than the 12 car this weekend. Looking at kind of qualifying and practice speeds, it was hard to tell the tail, so I really don't read into it. I was a little nervous when I saw the qualifying results because that just affects pit stall selection. We ended up getting a really good pit stall in between the 44 and the 66, so we were kind of open in, open out all day. So that was good. And then we got there, and Hassler felt pretty optimistic about our long-run speed.
Yeah.
And, we fired the race up. Dude, close call for us to start the race.
Lap
Did you see
one.
that? Different driver, same car, same thing keeps happening.
What happened here? Did somebody get in his left rear?
I think he kind of shaded down, and Ricky was there.
Stenhouse.
Yeah, but I don't think it was Ricky's fault.
No.
The 7 tried to kind of go where the 47 was, it looked like. They're showing some video here of us kind of getting the fence and us getting run in the back of. That's just Homestead, man.
It is Homestead.
You come in, a lot of times you pit, and you can tell that he's been in the fence.
All it takes is like the back, like the rear, the back side of the right rear quarter panel just to like catch it, and it just chokes off the air cushion that's in between it.
on that last one. They were racing, dude.
Oh.
Wow. That's fun racing right there.
This track was like a dry, slick dirt track, dude. It's like driving a wet noodle around there the entire time.
The one
just no grip. Spin the tires whenever you want to.
They
about wrecked each other right here.
I'm going to say this one more time. The one where the 45 passed us. He passed us so fast that like Jordan or Jackman jumped on the wall like something was wrong, and we all like, whoa, because he's the only one that saw. He's like, we got a problem, and I was
when
like,
was this?
Oh, he just got into the fence. Like we got into the fence off of 4, and it just slows your mow. It's like a dirt track, like you said. Like when someone in a dry, slick dirt track kind of misses it and hits the bottom and spins their tires, and someone closes from like a straightaway back and passes them in a sprint car race. That's a lot like this is like, because you lose so much mow being up by the fence and hitting it. So yeah, we got passed so fast by the 45 when we hit the fence that our guys thought there was something wrong, but there wasn't. And that was kind of the close calls we had all day. But
it was a battle for that 5 team. One that they ended up losing in the grand scheme of things. I wonder if the 5 ran something over, or this is just low right rear air trying to get some grip, and it blows the sidewall off of it.
Let's see it, Danny.
Let's see it. Run the top in 1 and 2. Oh, yeah, right rear tire goes down into the fence. Luckily, he was right up against the fence, so like Richard Petty says, if you're running close to the fence, you don't hit it as hard.
That's a good point. Dude, Kyle Larson does some heroic stuff.
Yeah, dude.
For him to come back after this and drive through the field, and he's racing us for the win when he obviously spins out again.
Catches a break here. Actually, the tire carcass comes off, so that way it brings out a yellow.
Yeah, that's the best scenario that you could have. Left front's got no load on it because the right rear's locked up.
But definitely knocks some performance out of that 5 car because it grinds the strake of the splitter off, or not the diffuser off, and you're really sensitive to how tight that thing is sealed to the ground. Kind of like the old right side skirts. Back in the day, you really want that side skirt sealed up. If it was up off the ground, you'd lose a lot of side force. Definitely knocked some performance out of the 5, but he still did.
Because at the end of the race, did you see that charge he made at the end of the race, dog? He was going to win the race.
It's Kyle Larson doing Kyle Larson things at Homestead. What else do we have? There's still some other stuff. Oh, yeah. I'll just get to my day real quick. Back it up. We do just the generic, hey, check. I hear the spotter. I hear crew chief, everybody, and I'm like, check, got me. And, like, nobody's responding. I'm like, huh. Check. Hey. And it's like there's nobody paying attention. Apparently the push talk button on the steering wheel wasn't working. So we just did a full-on swap of a wheel and a helmet before the race. That's always a bit chaotic. You're just throwing stuff, and they're already making pace laps. And
so you swapped out your steering wheel?
They kept the same steering wheel,
okay.
But they did some bypass for the button. Ended up working. It was just scratchy because you got to bypass the antenna, but I was able to talk to him all day. And we were going okay. We just kind of were a 30th place car. We got the lucky dog after the second stage. So the goal was for us is to start the third stage on the lead lap. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
I thought we called the strategy right on when to pit. We would generally go early to kind of undercut and get some time on the front of the run and just hang on. And I was racing the 43. There was like 3 or 4 of us, the 31, 43, and myself. I was able to stay ahead of the 43. Got the lucky dog, started third stage on lead lap. It's like, okay, we're 24th. Salvage this day for a top 25 here and just go on to Martinsville. But running 24th here. 54 had some issues. I think he was had no fourth gear. So not the best aero spot here. Got the death push out of 2, had to lift, and 54 wasn't going to lift, and plugged us in the fence and bent our lowers, both right side lowers, and then we were just wounded the rest of the day.
He lifted for you.
Yeah.
It's just
thanks for that. Right to the point of impact. That was just enough to ruin our day.
It's a tough situation, it looks like, though. Talking to you about it yesterday, it seemed a little bit worse than what it was. It just looked like at that point in the corner, if you run the top like him, you're committed to throttle. And if you have to dump out of the gas late, it's like, oh.
Yeah. I certainly wasn't intentional.
No.
It's one of those things. I was trying to be 97%. It's easy to hit the wall there. Bent a toe link. I thought we executed all day up until then.
When he hit you, it bent. You got the fence.
Our day was done.
Both toe links.
Right sides, toe links, lowers were done.
Oh,
the wheel
really?
was like this the rest of the night. Yeah.
Oh.
And then we just limped it home the rest of the 70 laps. There's nothing worse than riding around in a wounded car, because you just think about all types. It's like a very concentrated mood of depression, and you think about, what car you're going to drive, like a mini stock in Sheboygan. You just start thinking about where you can go move and not talk to anybody for the rest of your life. That's the sort of thoughts that go through your head when you're riding around on national television 2 seconds off the pace. And that's what we did. But it was not great. We didn't have a lot of fun this weekend. But we'll go to Martinsville, where it was one of my favorite tracks. Yeah. But there was still some more fun to be had for several people, one of which is Tyler Reddick.
Before we get
favorite
there,
highlight of the weekend.
5 car spinning out. That's the next thing on the list, because I want you to kind of break that down. Let's get going chronological order here. So I was confused at watching this to begin with. I know we were trying to pick them. I thought that when you rewind it and you watch it from the aerial view, I don't know if we have that here or not, but there's not as much room where Kyle tries to fit his car as there is, and he gets we've seen it time and time again, right? When you go in between two cars like that tight, it's almost like someone put it on your door used to be and taking all the side forks out. It just chokes the diffuser off and you're done. And that's what happened to him, right? He just got in between both cars. The car lost all the air out from underneath it. And
I think it was one of those situations where the 12 felt like he was picking him. He only left
a half a car length.
Half a car width. Yet the 5 made it wide enough to fit his car in, but he lost all the downforce, which being in that bad aero spot. With what? 7 to go, 8 to go? How many laps was that?
There might have been 10 or 12.
12.
But you know, you get the caution and you take the green with 6 or 7 to go.
Some things that let me hear your take. So if there's been a hot topic in the driver's chat lately about, in this instance, if you spin out and you bring out the yellow, and Larson was where, third at that point?
Yeah.
Second? Was that for the lead?
He pitted from third.
Well, the caution comes out. Let's just say he blends back in third or fourth. So he blends in third. The opinion is if you bring out a yellow, you are tail end.
That's where you blend.
Okay, that's
because this is the problem. That situation's black or white. It's a one-car spin.
Yep.
If there's 3 cars involved and one doesn't really stop and one does, and you don't think that you were part of it, but you were part of it, then you send all 3 to the back.
Yeah,
it's
true.
where you blend. That's how it has to be.
Okay.
Right? I don't know.
I agree with that.
But like in that situation, you're like, well, he's brought out the caution. He should go to the back. Well, yeah, if we're racing at Wall Stadium, right, that's how that works. But we have the timing lines and all the loops and everything to understand where he should be. And it's always been where you blend. They pay the hit anyway, because when you spin like that, you got to push your flaps up. And they when they came down, they had to have an inherently slow pit stop to get all the flaps set back to where it was.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean that's how it's been forever. And if you try to change it, you can see them. Rear changer reaches around, does the flap, boom.
Got it.
So yeah, at that point, last stop of the race, right? If you don't do a 9 flat, you're losing stops. You're losing spots anyway. I think the 20 car did like a 9.5 and lost 2. It's just that's how competitive it is right now. I haven't watched this. Now we're on to the final restart. I will preface this by saying I watched it live, and man, this was the biggest adrenaline dump.
Where in relation to turn 1 was your pit box?
It was just past start finish line, 17.
So are you watching it on the screen underneath in the pit box, or are you watching like on the wall?
No, we were watching on the screen of the pit box, because pit road at Homestead has a fence in the back of it, and you can't. It's really narrow. We had a lot of people there. Gianna's family lives down there. She had a lot of her friends. So inherently, when you're going to win the race, there's a lot of people that show up at the pit box.
Yep.
So it was crowded. So it was just kind of fighting for a spot to watch without blocking other people. Watched it and just walked away. And everybody on our team, I have been part of some good stuff and some bad stuff. I don't think that any of us, and there's a lot of veterans on our team, have had this much of an adrenaline dump ever. So I never watched it back.
Less than this ruler determine the winner of the race.
You put him in this position, and we're having the conversation today about why did every other crew chief miss the 2-stop strategy.
This is Formula One racing, this is road course racing, and this is also short track racing.
You've only got to get to here, just over a car width.
Catch NASCAR Inside the Race each week on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
You guys came down leading.
Come down leading and go out leading.
Go out leading.
We had the best day on pit road we've ever had. We'll get to that in boats and woes.
Tyler Reddick had it scripted out for him, goes long, unlaps himself the lap before the caution comes out. Now, he stayed out to flip the guys that all pitted, that are now on fresh tires. He's on a lap or two of a tire disadvantage.
Yeah.
Which tires at Homestead are massive, but stickers in particular, we put on scuffs maybe to halfway to finish the first stage, and it was substantially worse.
Yeah.
So like the first 3 corners with tires at Homestead is a massive advantage. So you see the 45's on a bit of a disadvantage.
Scuffs are harder too because they've been through a heat cycle.
Correct.
It's like metal. You heat it up, cool it down, it gets harder.
Correct. Fire it up. If you're watching on YouTube, we're watching the final restart. Now Ryan didn't get a great launch. He's really concerned about blocking the 9, and he got stuck three wide middle with still some decent air, though. The 45 wasn't able to kind of hold that lane 2. Gets kind of swallowed up behind. Comes out of 2, P4. But rolls the top, gets to the boards. This is electric right here.
This was electric.
2 to go. The 12 car wraps the bottom. Denny's leading, running lane 4. 45's back there. Gets a big draft on the backstretch. 12 car piles it into the corner into turn 3, goes for the slider, leading the race, coming to the white. Championship defense on the line. Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick taking the white under a blanket.
At this point, we're thinking air block. We got the race won.
He goes to lane 2 here. 45's wrapping the line. 11's on the boards. 45's able to clear boss man, Denny Hamlin. And I went back, pause it right here. I went back and looked on SMT when you called me last night, and I was just scrubbing through just to see how it all went down, see where the 12 lifted, see where the 45 lifted. And the 12 had a couple lifts down the back, halfway in the backstretch when you're trying to pull 5th gear, and it didn't go in smooth. Normally you see a little bit of crack and it'll go in. He had to lift like 4 times, like pop, 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 and essentially missed the 4-5 pull. So he should have probably maintained a little more momentum down the backstretch, but instead keeps the pack tight. So continue the video.
Okay, so you can see the 45 close there.
And the 12 kind of drove it into his normal lift point, but leaves the top lane wide open, and the 45 just buries it in there like the years on the line, and it was. Man, how sad does that make you?
I mean, listen, at the end of the day,
that makes me sad.
I stand by my guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm on the team. He made a bad decision on the last corner, but we
made a lot of good decisions up to that.
We all are a team, and between him and I bank on him and Timmy watching that and learning from it. And you can only do what you can do, right? Like, obviously hindsight's 20/20. You don't want to give the 45 the top ever, but it happened, and it is what it is.
On the contrary, he might be going halfway down the backstretch, Ryan, thinking about Tyler Reddick stuffing Chris Buescher in the fence at Darlington.
Well, yeah, driving down to the bottom and slide. There's a lot of stuff, and listen, I got the end of the day, no matter what, if Blaney turns around and goes backwards down the track, I got his back.
Yeah.
So that as a team, we had a good day, finished second. Obviously, we need to win that race because of kind of our point situation, but. I was just proud of the effort from our team, but yes, it is a monumental just bummer of a day, and to be on the other side of like just such a letdown that you just can't explain playoff racing at that level unless you've done it, right? Like I hear a lot of people, a lot of commentators, a lot of Xfinity drive, a lot of people that are like, oh man, it's all on the line. Like, unless you're there doing it as a driver, as a pit crew guy, as a crew chief, you can think that you understand the pressure, but you do not. And to execute at such a high level that we all did that day, whether it be Hassler changing, making changes on the car, because we were a 5th place car, and then we, dial it in.
With air pressure, you touch the window.
Just getting it dialed in. With Mule, our tire guy, with our whole team, just figuring it out. Our pit crew executing at a high level. Ryan passing the 11, executing at a high level. That is so massive and so hard to do. It doesn't get any at this racetrack. It doesn't get any more challenging. And then to lose it like that, it's just like, dude, I've never felt. I almost feel hungover. Like if that makes sense.
Of letdown.
Just like I don't know what it is. I don't know, right? I can't explain. I've felt this way, like we lost Daytona 500, like kind of those types of deals, but I've never felt like
depressed. Not
even depressed. It's just
big
like
sad.
No, it's like you're hungover. It's just like you're
like
energy like drained, kind of like just a little bit sick, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, stomach. But you gotta. Here's the deal, right?
You gotta put the big boy
Get
pants.
Get over it and go
To Martinsville.
To Martinsville and go. No, not even go to Martinsville. Go to the shop tomorrow. Put in the work all week.
Yeah.
Just like you did this past week, and go to Martinsville and not be as good as you were at Homestead. Be better. And then do it again the following week because that's all you got. So, yeah.
Well, that's what you guys did last year. You guys were you in a win and must-win situation last year, Martinsville?
No.
But you still won anyways.
We still won anyways.
Well, you need to have it this week.
There's a lot of questions going to Martinsville about tire and all that. But, yeah, I mean, we got to have a great day. We're 38, I think, out.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Wesley Lape, good friend of mine. He's a mechanic on the 20 car. And I said, man, I couldn't believe how frustrated Chris Bell was after Vegas. You guys are plus 50 above the cutoff line. You had a great day. He goes, yeah, but you got to bank on 3 winners, and we're only 2 points ahead of Larson. And I was like, damn, I didn't think about that. It's like playing blackjack. You got to bank that the dealer has 21
or 20, yeah,
and that you have to beat him.
Yeah,
and
you can't sit on 17.
You know, that's what he said. He's like, you got to bank on 3 winners, and he's right. You know, these 2 guys that were not in contention on the cutoff line now are locked into Phoenix, and you know, the 20 car isn't in a, you know, they're in a good point situation, but Martinsville's a place where you see stuff break. You can really get behind. It's hard to get track position back if you lose it. You can't pass here.
Yeah.
So,
well, if the 11 wins, right? If the 11 wins, he's on the outside looking in. That leaves only 1 guy on points.
Yeah, and you know, you factor in, like, if you go to Martinsville and have a rough day, your nerves are shot, dude. Like, our nerves are all shot. It's going to take 3 days to get over it. And if you don't want that the week going to Phoenix, Joey Logano's going to be fresh.
He's going to be fresh.
Tyler Reddick's going to be fresh. They got very different sized legs, but both of their legs are going to be fresh.
Yeah.
Both their sets of legs.
My favorite clip of the weekend, I was just scrubbing through the NASCAR app on how they did a little story highlights, was Michael Jordan just sitting on the wall for a pit stop. Did you see that? It was awesome.
Just there.
Literally just sitting there.
Dude,
by
he
himself.
was fired up.
Watching him come in. No emotion. Watch him drive away.
The best was when you're interviewing him and he goes, little ass kid did it or something like that. He called it like little kid.
Anything can happen after that, man. And as you can see, Denny was up there and little kid drove his ass off. I'm proud of him.
30. He's a grown ass man.
He's got a kid.
Short.
he's just a small little man.
He's just short. He's like, yeah, but that's what he's like. Little kid put it on his back. I was dying laughing. Oh man.
Love to see it.
It reminded me of that. It's cool, and it's cool to see MJ celebrating like that. You know, there's a lot of headlines of lawsuits and this, that, and the other thing, but just pure NASCAR this past weekend. You can stop worrying about everything and just watch a great race from Homestead-Miami Speedway. A track that, man, I don't know. Like, I love it. I love for it. There's an argument, right? Should it be the championship race? That's the question of the week. Should Homestead go back to being the championship race? And I think that is a great championship facility, especially since selfishly you could just leave there and go to the Keys, which is what I love to do at the end of the season. Just done, get to the Mutineer, hook a left, drive down to the Keys.
Yep.
I do like the fact, though, that it's a round of 8 race because there's more storylines. You have 8 guys worth of storylines other than 4, right? But I don't know a better track that showcases your team and your driver and your strategy, right? Like, we saw all of that yesterday with the 45 strategy, you know, the pit crews being great, and the drivers having to put it all on the line and work on their car. And then you factor in that as the race progresses, right? One thing we didn't talk about is 1 and 2 gets shaded. Mm-hmm. So now you can shortcut it and run the bottom like the 45 did and make a run. So now you have more options, right? And then 3 and 4 is in the sun, so you have to do something different at both ends. And as the race progresses, the shade moves and the grip moves. And really, at the end of the day, for a good race, what you need is options.
Yep.
And opportunities to be better, and Homestead presents all of that.
It definitely does. I wouldn't mind seeing it rotate, alternate maybe.
I would say that's where,
you know, I've heard Vegas chattered. Oh man, it needs to rotate with Vegas. I don't ever foresee an SMI track getting a championship date. I just think that's just the way it's going to be.
I think that's
something
something that we all need to look at as a sport. Then, if we're having measuring contests of where the championship race needs to be. there's only two. I'll say it here. Like, there's only two people that own racetracks, really.
Right.
If that's going to be a sticking point above the action on the racetrack, then that's
and there's only
a
really
tough look for the sport.
There's only 3 markets that really and truly deserve a championship date. It's Phoenix, Vegas, and Homestead, Miami.
I mean, yeah, but you could talk about. I mean, you could make
Charlotte.
arguments for Charlotte, Darlington, right? Like for the track,
Yeah, sure.
right? Like you could make arguments for a lot of different places, but yeah.
But we're not doing that
when
today.
you look at weather and all that. Yeah, I mean, I think if it rotates between 3 different tracks, it'd be really cool. And then that way, you know, you don't always have the same narrative of, well, if they get to Phoenix, they're hot.
Yeah.
I like going to Homestead once because if you went twice, I think people would figure it out and the race wouldn't be as good.
I agree with that.
And I do, yeah, man. There was a lot of, man, there's always like a lot, like Portnoy's there. There's a lot of people there.
I talked to him for a bit.
Yeah. So
He's an interesting character, that fella. Who else? Eddie Alvarez. He was a baseball player currently, but he was also a gold medal speed skater. Talk about athlete.
damn.
What else is there? I am excited about Clay Millican coming. He just jumped on a bird, came over here. He's going to jump in the Nonsense Garage here and talk to us about his U.S. Nationals and successful year. He is a Rick Ware Racing teammate of mine. So we haven't had any NHRA here. So I'm excited to talk and just it seems like Tony Stewart's a hot topic too, so I'm excited to hear his take on that. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and get Clay Millican right here into the Nonsense Garage coming up right after this. All right, guys, we're back. Like I said, I've been excited to talk to this fella all day. My man got on a plane this morning, flew all the way from Memphis, Tennessee. He's my current Rick Ware Racing partner, but not on the oval track side. He's on the dragster side. He's a 6-time IHRA world champion. But biggest thing this year is he won the U.S. Nationals, which is the NHRA's Daytona 500. So without further ado, please welcome to Nonsense Garage on the Stacking Pennies, Mr. Clay Millican.
Oh, let's go.
Take a seat, my friend.
How about that?
Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming in. Oh, first off, congrats
Thank you.
on that. That was several weeks ago. But you guys had a strong year, start to finish.
We really have. It's been a solid year. We won 3 races last year. We haven't done that this year, but we've been more consistent. Like we're higher in the points.
Yeah.
And, you know, winning Indy kind of makes your year, but it ain't over with yet. We have an outside shot of getting that championship still. We need a few things to go our way.
So explain to me, like, I know nothing about drag racing because I know very little. I know just enough to be dangerous, right? I have a little bit of skin in the game now. I'm following you. I'm pulling for you. Have been pulling for you for a long time, but even more so now that we're teammates. They do a bit of a playoff system type thing, and the U.S. Nationals is your Daytona 500. Why is that? Just in the backyard of where all the teams are at?
It's just always been that way. It was the 70th running of the race, so it's like the granddaddiest, the oldest. Very, very similar to Daytona. You know, it's kind of the start of like national event kind of racing, you know, and man, I've been trying to win that thing 26 years. Never been close. Qualified number 1 there before, but I've never went rounds, and this will sound horrible, but it was easy. Like it was just our day.
When it all comes together, it feels easy.
It really is weird how that is, but I mean, you know, like I wasn't even nervous. You know, final round, I'm like, man, no matter what, we just were talking about this. We had a pretty good day, but it turns out we had a great day. Yeah. You know, the wind light come on and racing freaking Steve Torrance, bazillion-time champ in the final. I think he had won it 3 times, and man, when that wind light come on, whew, what a feeling.
They leave. Steve's out first. He smokes the tires. Clay Millican wins the U.S. Nationals. 379.2, 327 miles an hour. It seems so unlikely. They struggled in qualifying. They have had their down moments this season. But for Rick Ware Racing and this entire crew, you can see they are absolutely beside themselves with joy.
So where does the wind light show up? On the board?
So this is also really bad to say, but you can look up and see your elapsed time, like on the big giant scoreboards.
As you go by,
but you can't see the wind light. on the guardrail a little further down track, there's like a light bulb.
That's it.
And man, it's a wonder people don't run into the wall watching to see if that light bulb comes on or not.
And you're only passing at 330 miles an hour.
Exactly.
How much did you win by?
I don't know.
There's nothing like a good drag race, especially at the four wides, because like I'd say, I don't know, 65% of the time someone blows the tires off it or blows up. So, but when the race goes to the end, especially the four wides, I brought my kids for the first time this year, and it's just like, holy cow, it's so cool.
You have to go. If fans are a fan of NASCAR particularly and haven't been to an NHRA race, it is electric, dude. Like the feeling that you get, there's no bad seat in the house, because when those things fire off, bro, it's like a sledgehammer hitting you in the chest, man.
I mean, they literally cause a seismic
earthquake.
Event. They do.
When I was a young kid, I grew up by Englishtown, New Jersey, and we would go to Englishtown religiously. But my favorite was, I think car alarms were semi-new in the late 90s, and they would all, whenever the Top Fuel cars would go off and get to the end, the car alarms would go off.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would shake the car so bad
that
you just hear all the car alarms going off, people trying to fix them. And yeah, that was...
So you said you had 26 attempts trying to win the U.S. Nationals, but how much longer before that had you been driving Top Fuel cars?
I've been in a Top Fuel car for 26 years, so that's why I say 26 attempts at it. I've been racing, not professionally, but been racing since I was 15 years old, and I'm old. That was a long time ago. But
how old are you?
58. 58.
It's pretty old.
That's real old.
But there's something about nitro fuel that just keeps guys young.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I think, everybody talks about me smiling all the time. I've been told it's Permagrin from, 6Gs.
John Force.
Yeah.
And Ron Cap smiles a lot, too. All the dudes.
What's there to be sad about, man? Those guys are living the dream.
So, hey, we talked about it, and I wanted to ask, because there's always a debate about what NASCAR's crown jewels are. But where is, like, the U.S. Nationals and Pomona? Like, because Pomona that's one of your biggest races of the year too, right? So, if you have crown jewels in NHRA, what are they?
Yep, it would be U.S. Nationals #1, Gainesville, which is the Gator Nationals, and then Pomona. And there's 2 Pomona races, so some people might argue one or the other. To me, it's the finals because it's the last race of the year. You crown the champion and all that. And since COVID, Pomona is no longer the beginning race of the year, which is weird. Like, I'm still not used to that. You're supposed to be in Pomona for the start of the season, but it hadn't been that way since the whatever the virus was.
So that was the start and the beginning. That was where you started and finished the year.
Yep.
Okay.
And now we start in Gainesville.
Okay.
So it's just weird.
I'm just curious, the sensation. I'm assuming you drove alcohol dragsters.
Nope.
No, straight to the big dogs.
I drove a dragster for years locally, and I did go NHRA events and some IHRA events. The quickest and fastest I had ever been before getting in a Top Fuel car was like 180 miles an hour.
Okay, so double that.
Yeah, pretty much. Almost. Yeah.
Now, once you get past 180, like, can you feel the difference between 310 and 320?
You can. After you've made enough runs. Like, I've made thousands of runs, and to me, if the thing's running 320, you're kind of like, it's not real happy. Like, you can just feel it, it's like, it's going to make it not blow up, or at least you hope, But when it's going to run like 338, you're like, oh yeah, this thing's still ripping. You can feel the difference.
It's amazing to me, just the technology of them building an engine that can make 8 to 10,000 horsepower.
11 to 12.
11 to 12.
Short them.
And it's built specifically to run for 3.8 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of trying to tailor that thing of one traction, but also longevity to make it just to the start-finish line, and you cut the ignition on the bomb right before it blows up.
Yep. Yeah. Trust me, that's one of the things when I walk back in the lounge and they stick that SD card in to download the data, I'll tell them, I got it all. And when I mean I got it all, 1,000 feet. And it's a game for me just because you do it changing tires, you do it driving a race car. You want to get every bit of it. And when I tell the crew chiefs I got it all, like, I want to have stepped off the throttle at 1,000 feet. And they'll pull it up, you were 1,015. I'm like, dang it.
Hang on, dumb question. Is the run 1,000 feet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Used to be a quarter mile. Everybody associates it with a quarter mile, and man, I'm horrible with dates and things. But for over a decade now, we've been 1,000 feet. Some of the tracks we go to, they're just too short.
Okay.
I mean, they're not building tracks for cars that can go who knows how fast.
Well, the runoff is too short because you guys have gone faster and faster and faster, right? They were probably okay when you were doing 280, but not so good for 330 or 340. What is there a detriment to going 1,015? Like, do they get mad about that? Like, you use the motor too much.
You use the motor too much. Just kind of like Corey was saying. You know, they're set up. They've got their tongue hanging out, and you need to be off that thing at 1,000 feet.
I never knew that. I never thought that. You know,
they're done.
Where you lift is important.
Yeah, they're done.
What's the first thing to go generally? I know there's like, I don't know, a couple thousand moving pieces inside of Top Fuel motor, but what's like crank bolt or rod bolts?
Typically what happens is you basically will smash the rod bearing to the point that it's done.
Yeah.
And you chunk a rod out.
Okay.
You know.
And then it gets a big bang.
Possibly.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, yeah.
What's the first time when you romp on one? Are you like, Jesus?
So here's what a lot of guys won't tell you. I'm old, and I don't have the ego I probably once did. The first time I put my helmet on, knowing I was actually going to drive one, I thought I was going to throw up.
Yes.
Because here's the thing. They don't work at park throttle. You can't go out there and make a warm-up lap. You can't. And that's not a knock on what you do. Yeah. I'm just saying
you can't ease into it.
You can't ease into it. There is no park throttle of those things. You know, and first time you get in it, you're like, oh my goodness, you know, this is something I've always wanted to do, but can I really do it? You know, and your first run, they'll tell you, you know, if you can go 300 feet, go 300 feet, you know. And I did. And I'm like, whew, I can do this. I can do this, you know.
So transitioning kind of some more the NASCAR side, how has watching Tony's progression been? Because, like, I worked for Tony in 2011, speaking of Homestead, coming off of that race, and he understands racing, right? Whether it be on the cup level, or I've been sprint car racing with him, or I go race, you know, Munchkins at the Fort Wayne indoor race, and he's there tuning on it, working on it. And he's got a lot of old school, really good people around him. And I wonder, you know, not only is he a driver, but he's got a lot of racing knowledge. How has that transferred over? Because he seems to have had a pretty quick progression, you know, on the NHRA side.
So I'm going to give you a quick story. So I was not necessarily the biggest Tony Stewart fan when he was racing NASCAR, just being honest.
Who was your guy?
Man, again, back to being old, Richard Petty was and still is my guy.
Okay.
Love Richard Petty. And then I will tell you that once Richard retired, I become a Davey guy. And then once we lost Davey, I've not had a guy.
Really? I could be your guy, Clay.
You will. That's happened since the RWR has started. But I'm saying, you know, like zoned in as a kid. Once we lost Davey, I'm like, you know. But back to your Tony story. So I knew Tony was making test runs before the world did. You know how racing is. He's testing, and he's testing. He's driving Leah's car. I'm here at Charlotte. Me and my wife are walking the dogs on a Monday. I knew he had been testing that day. They pulled over to us, kind of introduced each other, you know, and I'm like, how was it? And he's like, dude, the first time I did it, my head never left the starting line.
His body was down there. His head was the start line.
Wow. And I don't know how many runs he had made at this point. And he said, today, my head's about at the end of the wheelie bar.
Okay.
So I so much appreciated that he didn't just say, I'm Tony Stewart. This is easy.
Yeah.
He never has said that. And I have found him to be awesome to be around. Like, now that I actually know him, you know what I mean? He's a race car driver. Ain't no two ways about it. That dude can drive, and he's going to win one very soon. It's going to happen. You know, they've put the work in. They make lots of test runs.
That's a wild analogy just to think. It makes complete sense, right? You leave, and then your run is done. You lift, and then your brain's still like just trying to catch up to your body. And then I've heard several interviews that he said is like, now he is like, he can now figure out what the nuances of the run are, and he can say when it blew traction or when it slung a rod out. Like, he's figured out, his brain's caught up to how fast the car's going.
Yeah.
Because you guys pedal in things quite a bit, and like there's a lot of tricks that go to it.
if things go bad and it's purely in the driver's hand, a lot of times experience really comes into play. And then there's times where somebody like Tony with not a lot of runs, they might just catch it and turn the wind light on. I love and hate, we call them pedal fest. If both cars are smoking the tires, man, when you win them, you're like, I am the freaking man. And then when you lose them, you're like, oh, their car went a little further and, they had more momentum or whatever, But pedal fest are crazy.
Rumor has it that driving a forklift at Kroger really conditions you to drive a dragster at 300,000.
It does. It's the rear steer thing.
Yeah.
Driving a forklift with the rear steer.
How old were you? I read on your website that was one of the first jobs you had was driving a forklift to Kroger.
I worked at Kroger for 11 years before I became a professional race car driver.
I feel like that's a documentary.
What'd you do? So
you just woke up one day, you know what? I'm done driving this. Give me a Top Fuel dragster.
Yeah, put me in a Top Fuel.
Like
car.
at the grocery store, at the
warehouse
fulfillment center. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And was I just reading that your son drives a monster truck?
He did. Yes, he did.
Okay, because I have a friend, Morgan Kane.
I know Morgan very well.
So Morgan reached out. I met him through Off Axis Craig. He reached out to me when there was an opening at Penske. He ended up working at Penske.
Yep.
So he works with us. But I was looking at that and I was like, dang, that's I guess kind of a small community, but that's a crazy ass job as well.
Yeah. So that was my son Dalton, which we lost in 2015. He had a motorcycle crash. But Dalton was a motocross racer. Like that was his thing. He won the national championship. ATV motocross, I might say, but it's the same tracks, all the outdoor tracks of, Steel City, Red Bud, blah, 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 whatever. Well, when that kind of got to the end of its deal, it's like, okay, what are we going to do now? He was like my little gearhead, and so we thought, okay, pro stock bike. And my wife is going, this is really dumb. You make your living off sponsorship. Now you got to find sponsorship for him too.
Yeah.
And so I made a phone call. You just mentioned 6-time IHRA champ. Well, Monster Jam was owned by the same company that owned IHRA. I thought, oh, shoe-in. I'll just make a call. I'm a 6-time champ. They'll give him a job. Didn't work that way. But they had the beginning of what was called Monster Jam University. Morgan Kane and Dalton were the first part of the first graduating class. Tom Mintz is the teacher. Yeah, Tom Mintz
He's
is the
crazy.
teacher. I love Tom Mintz. He is a huge drag racing fan. I just talked to him last week or week before last, yeah.
So Higgy was talking about your involvement in the brakes situation, and I'm sure that Dalton's situation is what brought you there. But
you had an interesting Doug Herbert story before that, though, because I asked if you and Doug Herbert, who started the brake school, were tight, and you said, well, maybe not so much to begin with.
Yeah, to begin with, definitely not. So Doug was kind of the king of the IHRA series, and for all you NASCAR folks, it's not really this way, but to put it in those kind of terms, think of Xfinity Series versus the Cup Series. Although we were racing the exact same kind of cars, but they were competing series, basically.
Like Champ Car and
IndyCar. Back in the day, IRL, whatever.
Yeah.
So Doug had moved to the NHRA, leaving IHRA as the freaking man. Well, I came in, and I kind of become that guy. We won a lot. And I would do the occasional NHRA race, and for whatever reason in Reading, Pennsylvania one year, we both decided that we wanted to stage last. We sat there long enough that the official starter, the guy that operates the Christmas tree, told us to cut the cars off because we sat there for over 2 minutes, and these things burned so much fuel. One of a couple things was going to happen. They were either going to blow up immediately from being lean, or they were going to pop a big giant wheelie, and it was all bad.
Oh, because the fuel in the front has some
nose
nose weight.
It's the ballast, yeah. And so they cut us off. We're on live TV. We push the cars back. First thing I'm thinking of is, man.
Was this a final?
First round. Okay. First round.
Man, that's an old fuel measuring contest right there.
I believe that's what they call that.
Yeah, exactly.
So explain to the listeners and myself, is there games you play in the staging zone of wanting to trip it last? So
100%.
How's that all work?
There is no rules who stages first, who stages last. There's no rule. The only rule is once one guy has turned on both of the bulbs, it's called pre-stage and stage.
Yep.
The other guy has 7 seconds.
Okay.
But once you both have the top bulb on pre-stage, there is no time limit.
Okay.
It's just a waving contest. Let's just call it that.
So what's the point of being the last one to turn the light on?
Makes you feel like you're in control.
Oh, okay.
And it is a driver decision at the like for me. I can't speak for anybody else.
But if you're the first one to turn it on, then you start the 7-second clock, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you
So
do.
have you ever just rolled up and started it right away to like catch them off guard?
You can do that. That is thought of as not very courteous. Like that we call that a double bulb. Like if you just boom,
Like
boom.
you just double bulbed me.
Yeah, exactly. That's not courtesy staging is what it
Okay.
is. But I made the decision like I'm going to stage last. Doug Herbert made the same decision. They shut us off, pushed us back. Doug come over and told me things about my mama I had never heard before.
And you didn't like that.
And he is a giant. Doug
What's
Herbert,
he, 6'3", 4"?
Oh, at least,
Yeah.
And out here I am 142 pounds and he's 250, Anyway, it turned into a shoving contest on live TV, and
Yes.
we did not exchange Christmas cards for a long time. And then
But now here you are.
here we are. Unfortunately, Doug lost 2 sons, and I actually, because it was such a big deal, such a big rivalry, we were the beginning of every freaking drag race. They showed the shoving match, and
Oh, yeah.
but once he lost both of his sons, I'm like, man, this guy drives a Top Fuel car, got 2 sons. I drive a Top Fuel car. I have 2 sons. I started helping with fundraising. Brakes program's free. They have to raise a lot of money, and
Give us a little bit of cliff notes on that because it's an unbelievable school.
it really is. So BRAKE stands for Be Responsible to Keep Everyone Safe, and it is a free, proactive teenage driving school. It's phenomenal. Kids are put in bad situations in a controlled environment, basically. We've all been kids. We all want to go slide and all this, that, and other, but if you don't know what the car's going to do, you're going to find yourself in the ditch, and so there's 7 different stations that they put them in bad situations, and man, it's just an amazing school for teenagers. If you know a kid, you need to sign them up. That's all I'm gonna say, because it's not driver's ed. It is learn how to drive.
That's what I hear. Everybody goes to say they have a great time and learn a ton. Even if you're an adult, even some adults I've heard go and have a great time too.
One adult is required to go. That's part of the school. And
have you instructed some?
I have not done instructing. I've hosted several of them.
Okay.
Once I lost my son, one racer in particular named Alan Johnson, pro stock racer out of Greenville, Tennessee, he paid for 5 classes to be held in the Memphis area in Dalton's name.
Oh, that's cool.
So I hosted them, and I was very involved with all of it, but it is pretty cool. I mean, it's like Jerry Nadeau was just here.
Yeah.
He's a brakes instructor. It's guys that really know how to drive. I'm a drag racer. I don't know that I can teach,
The corners are really get you.
Yeah, the corners are catchy, that's for sure.
Well, you talk about hosting. You are one of the more active guys, not of just in drag racing, in racing in general, whether it's on YouTube or social media on Facebook. You are a great personality, right? Whether it's been TV shows in the past, often Speed or Mav, but YouTube is where you spend a lot of time and have a lot of fun with your subscribers nowadays.
That happened during COVID. Bored like a lot of us. Man, please don't go back and watch the early YouTubes I put up. They're horrible, but
the ones now are good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's and it's crazy. I didn't mean for that to happen, but man, people just started watching, and it's growing like crazy. I mean, I'm over 100,000 now, and it's turned into nonstop adventures. Like, what's the next content I want to go get? And thankfully, with Rick Ware having so many different things, I'm constantly going somewhere. I mean, I went to Sturgis. I watched an American flat track race, which Rick has a team, with Mike Helton. How cool is that?
Really?
That's cool.
I did.
Was he wearing some leather chaps?
Nah.
I'm trying to picture Mike Helton out there.
We played kickball with them. That's about as. But I think flat track's way cooler.
Downtown Sturgis. I had never been to Sturgis either. That was
Is it wild?
It's so fun. It's like the infield at Talladega, except bikers.
You see Kenny and Stephen Wallace causing a ruckus? I see they're there.
I was there. Yep. I was there with them, and I was actually stepped inside. Mike had a corner room upstairs where you could see the flat track race. Go inside when Austin Dillon may have bounced off a couple people to get the win. I turned around and looked.
That was the same day?
Same day. I watched that with Mike Helton. And I'm like, boy, that was exciting. And he said, yeah, I might have got a phone call.
Yeah.
Them boys are on the way to the truck.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a story!
What a story. Yeah, he went from having a good time watching flat tracks to let me go handle something.
Yeah, I'm going to be on some Zoom calls for the next couple of days on this one for sure. Talk about Rick Ware doing some AMA flat track some stuff there. He's got a World Supercross team that raced up in Vancouver last week. Obviously, it's 2 Cup teams. There's not much that man's not into. And how did you become, through Doug Stringer, but how did you get linked up with Rick Ware?
I mean, you pretty much called it. Doug was involved in NASCAR for years and years. Great clips, Casey Kane.
38 car, I believe.
38 car back in the Busch Series. Jason Leffler drove for him. It's crazy. So I had met Rick through him, and then Rick sponsored our car a couple times. The guy loves drag racing, Southern California guy. He actually wanted to drive a Top Fuel car at one point in his younger days. And I don't know, him and Doug got together, and Rick's like, I got to have this thing, because he was actually in the process of building his own team.
Okay.
I don't think he was necessarily planning on doing all the races, but him and Doug got together. Rick bought the team, and man, we've been off and running ever since. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, dude, those guys, and the shop's right here out of Mooresville.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep the drag straight down the street. I think one of the biggest things that those guys were pumped up about was Arby's on your dragster for the first one, and you got the biggest one of the year.
That's awesome. I got to tell a quick story on that. I'm always full of stories. So I probably shouldn't say his name because everybody would be blowing his phone up. But the guy from Arby's was there on Friday night. Nighttime runs with Nitro is unbeatable. They're beautiful at night.
The best.
And so I just met this guy. I know he's on the starting line. He's got on a white shirt, which was a bad idea. Ruined. Goodyear freckles is what we call them from the burnouts.
Goodyear freckles?
Yeah, Goodyear freckles. So I'm making this run Friday night. You got to make that real good first impression. Car's not happy passing half track. Kept the old foot in it. Like, sorry, Rick.
Did you chunk the blower off of it?
It didn't chunk the blower off of it, but it chunked the rods out of it.
Okay.
Come on the radio like, guys, this hurt, but you can only make that first impression once.
That's it. You only
I
get
had
one.
no idea we were going to win on Monday with the guys, there all day, but I did. I chunked the rods out. It was like one for the team that they had to just forgive me for doing that, but I did it.
Well, hey, sometimes it's cost of doing business.
Exactly.
What's your go-to Arby's order?
I am a standard roast beef, I know everybody right now, everybody on my team, I should say, they're beef and cheddar.
Are you a single, a double, or a triple?
I'm a single. I'm a little guy, dude.
Maybe you should try a couple doubles there and put a little weight on.
I'm the same way, dude. Too much meat on a sandwich is not good.
Yeah, the meat bread ratio's got to be proper.
Right.
Curly fries.
Yeah.
Curly fries.
Dude, I put the curly fries on it.
Yeah.
You ever try that?
Yeah.
So.
Do you guys run Fords? Do you have blue valve covers on that thing?
We do have blue valve
powder
covers.
coated them. Okay, I got my hand on that. I was making sure because I was like, I've seen them come through. When he said the shop was back in Mooresville, I was like, okay.
But I got to tell the truth. It doesn't matter if it's Antron Brown with Toyota, us with Ford logos. They're all the same engine.
Yeah.
Really?
They're all
just one block,
one deal. Yep. All, man, I don't know if I should say this, but I'm going to because it's the truth. They're all based on a Chrysler Hemi. All of them. Yeah. All you got to do is look where the distributor is, where the oil pump goes.
Yeah.
Just think classic 1969 426 Chrysler Hemi, and that's what they are.
Wow.
Just pumping out ponies.
Now, trust me, they don't come from Stellantis, but that's yeah.
I'm Ryan Flores. Join Kim Kuhn and myself each and every week right here at Around the Track. Whether you are going to the racetrack or watching from home, we get you ready for all things national and regional level.
And we'll tell you who and what to watch for each week. Plus, we get you ready for the weekend at the racetrack, and Erica will help you place your bets to win some easy money.
Be sure to check out Around the Track every Wednesday on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
I had one more question I wanted to ask you before we were done, and we can cut this one out because Corey doesn't like to get in the weeds this much, but there's a lot of controversy in NASCAR right now. There's an engineer, there's a bunch of stuff going on, but, it's stealing guys, right? There's good guys. And I've watched, and I've always been...
You got inside info here you're fixing to ask me about?
No, I've always been curious because, the clutch guy is really important, right? I see that there's a lot of stuff there. Is there a lot of that goes on the NHRA side of trying to get guys to come over, or if you find a good clutch guy, is that like your crew chief that you try to stay with for a long time?
So a little bit of that is TV cutting things down to make it interesting. I'm just being honest. The clutch person, because I had a clutch girl for many years, the clutch person, vitally important. But what people don't understand is the crew chief has told them what to do. They're not making that decision. Now they're assembling it, and it has to be done to the 1,000th correctly. As far as people moving, that happens every year. I know y'all have the same thing. We all travel so much. The grass is always greener. I mean, I've been in a situation where one of the big dog teams hired my whole team. The whole team.
Yeah.
You know, that happens.
It's like, hey, your team's pretty good. You ran well. I'm going to take them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had the money to do it. So, you know, that happens. It does. We have had the same group for a couple years now, and that's pretty awesome. And, you know, being here, we're a little separated. Most of the Nitro teams are in the Indianapolis area, Brownsburg to be exact, you know, but we've been lucky. You know, you take care of your people and they take care of you. But, man, sometimes when I call them factory teams. Over here I should be saying the Hendricks, the JGRs, whatever. They can bring the money and take your whole team.
That's just racing no matter what. If it's roundy round or straight on.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, the way it's always going to be.
Fact.
But you tried your hand at oval track racing, I saw a couple weeks ago at Nashville.
Nashville.
You did the NASCAR experience.
I did.
How was that?
I want to make more laps now.
Yeah?
I do. I mean, I'm going to give you the first thing I thought driving off pit road is this thing wants to turn left really badly.
Yeah,
like
split.
It just immediately, like, you got to hold it. You got to hold it, you know.
To be fair, though, that thing probably has the same setup whether you're racing at a Bristol or Daytona.
Oh,
so that's
sure.
just what you had that day.
For sure. And
did you have a passenger?
No.
Okay.
No passenger. I did the ride along and then I drove it.
Yeah.
I did both because I wanted the content for YouTube.
So, Super Speedway or Fairgrounds, Nashville?
It was the Super Speedway.
Okay, the big one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 1.33 miles, 14 degrees of banking.
Concrete, baby.
Concrete. Cool place. It was the first time I'd been there. I've been to Fairgrounds many times. I watched Darrell Waltrip beat Richard Petty so many times at that race. It used to kill me as a kid.
So you've been a NASCAR fan for your entire life?
My oldest son's named Cale, if that tells you anything.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Big Cale Yarborough fan.
And if it would have been up to me, Dalton would have been named Kyle after Kyle Petty. But my wife was like, if you're yelling at the kids, Kyle, too close if you're going to beat somebody's butt. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
Or you just call them all three names, no matter.
Yeah, exactly. But, man, I had a blast driving the NASCAR. I really, really did. I'm going to have to make Rick give me an opportunity. I know I can't drive a cup car because, like, y'all can't go test those things or whatever. You know what I mean?
We know some people.
Know people?
We know some people.
But I only got to make a handful of laps, and, the last few, they have the rev limiter set way too low, and I was on the limiter constantly, but...
Hypothetically, if we were to arrange a ride swap, would you recommend me driving like an alcohol dragster first with like the timing?
Don't try to weasel your way out of this. If you're doing a ride swap, you're swapping rides. You're not going to give him a street stock.
That's true. All right, hypothetically, how do you get prepared to just jump into a Top Fuel car, or do you not?
I don't think you really get prepared. I do think, though, you got to understand the staging process. With a nitro car, you've really got to understand a few things. I'm going to give you another quick story. Travis Pastrana basically did what you're saying. He hopped in and drove a Top Fuel car.
Okay.
Travis Pastrana is known...
Whose car did he drive for?
A guy named Scott Palmer.
Okay.
Pretty good car. They don't run all the races, but when it's there, it'll run 370s, 325. It'll go fast.
Mm-hmm.
We all know Travis Pastrana will do anything. The dude hyperventilated and had to get out of the car before they started it.
Wow.
He was that nervous.
Yep. Now, he did get back in, and he did do it. He didn't make a full run.
Is he claustrophobic?
Did
No.
you ever see he has night terrors really bad?
He does.
See that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could see that if you're in that, dude, that's got to be so scary.
Bro.
So scary. I have watched more hours of And They Walked Away.
Yep.
And the safety safari going up and down the roads with my buddy Hot Pockets racing quarter midgets, that I just redid my office, and I have 3 drag cars. Like I got like my favorite drivers to sign like cars growing up. So I got John Force, and then I've been bidding on a is it Swamp Thing? Is that what Don Garlett's?
Yep, Don Garlett.
So
Swamp Rap.
Swamp Rap, the one that was the first one that was covered.
Yeah.
And then Joe Amato, I was a Jersey guy, and Joe Amato, the Snoopy
absolutely.
car. But yeah, just thinking back and watching those. I mean, I think the wreck, like we obviously saw John take a really hard crash, and we saw a video he put out. Thank God he's healing up.
Yep.
It seems as though like any motorsports, they've gotten to where they don't wreck as much, but when they do, it's still super violent. What's the worst one you've ever been in?
Luckily for me, I've only got one highlight reel kind of video, and you can find it on YouTube. So we did a one race deal with Warner Brothers. I was sponsored by Warner Enterprises at the time, but Warner Brothers Studio when Dukes of Hazzard the movie come out. So my car's orange, got the 01 on the side of it, and I did a blowover. So basically I drove into a wheelie that went all the way over backwards.
Oh.
What year was that?
Was this on purpose?
Definitely not.
I was going to say the memes of that today with a General Lee type car, that would have been endless.
Yeah, upside down backwards for a little over 2,000 feet.
Oh.
Yeah. No scratches, no bruises, no nothing.
That's a ride.
Yeah. It was crazy. I've had much scarier rides, but they didn't involve wrecks, actually.
Just a tire shake or something?
No, probably for me, the scariest thing that ever happened, actually, Reading, Pennsylvania. We was talking about the Doug Herbert thing.
Is that Maple Grove?
Maple Grove,
okay.
Yep. Did it burn out? We have a brake handle. We don't have a foot pedal. We got a brake handle.
Okay.
It was in my hand.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so.
You're just going.
Yeah, no brakes.
Oh.
Yeah,
so the burnout.
Just, yeah.
And just.
Yeah.
But no way to stop.
Yeah, no way to stop.
What do you do?
Well, the problem with a nitro car is you can cut the ignition off. They'll keep running once they're hot. It's like a diesel. They don't run good, but they'll keep running.
Yeah.
So you have to run them out of fuel. Well, if you've been to a drag race, you'll hear them at the end of the track. They kind of rev back up because they're going lean.
Yeah.
So when you shut the fuel off, they gain speed. Here I am. I got to shut the fuel off, gain speed with no brakes. Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking.
Would you just go onto this fan pit?
I made the corner, but it was still
tight.
I had to do that with the midgets I race at Fort Wayne. You have to, when you first push them off, you have to do that with the fuel to get heating them. And they're direct drive. And it is
just like us.
I'm like, you cowboys, who does this? But it's like, and you're modulating the switch. I have one last question, and I don't want to ask it, but I'm going to ask it. Sand traps. How many times have you ended up in the sand trap? And just once.
Just once.
Dang, if you end up in the sand traps again, I'm sorry. But when you do, like, are you just covered in sand? What is that like?
Man, this just really dawned on me. We have talked about Reading, Pennsylvania, Maple Grove.
It's not a great place for you, is it?
It's very short, like the shutdown area. It is actually a county road that goes across the drag strip. They put down crossing bars. We're there on a Monday very, very early in my career. Like, I've only made a handful of runs, and we're testing on a Monday. Open the chutes. For whatever reason, it knocked the brake line off, so this is not burnout speed. This is over 200 mile an hour kind of thing. No brakes. All I'm thinking about is my grandmother that can barely see over the steering wheel. I'm like, oh, man, I hope she's not coming. Not my grandmother, but somebody's grandmother, you know?
Yeah.
So centered up to hit the sand trap. In the case there, it's actually pea gravel. Any wreck I've ever been involved in, this is a good question for both of y'all because you race round and round and you probably have had more crashes than I have. I keep my eyes open. Like, if I'm taking this ride, I'm gonna watch it. Pea gravel everywhere. Like, just absolutely, it's stuff flying. Because big old front wing on those things, it's like a shovel just scooping stuff everywhere. And
I'm an eyes closed guy.
Are you?
Yeah.
Just go ahead and shut your eyes. Yeah, because there's nothing you can do. You know.
Yeah.
You're just taking the ride. But
my dad.
I just anticipate if I shut my eyes and I see Jesus when I open them, I know what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
My dad was a motocross guy.
Or if I see some tow truck driver, I'm like, all right, won't get to do this again next week.
Yeah, being raised by like a motocross BMX guy, you never stop driving a thing until it stops.
Yeah.
Like, you just hold on.
Yep. Ricky Carmichael style.
Just
don't
keep
let
wrecking.
go.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, that's different.
Back to our ride
trains
swap.
of thought. But yeah, you ended up in the pea gravel covered in.
Oh yeah. So when I hit the net, I kind of relaxed. Like, whew, ride's over. I didn't realize I had stretched the net out to the point that then it goes backwards,
No
so
way.
Yeah, it threw me backwards, When I stepped out of the car, I was standing on the parachute. Like it went backwards that far.
Oh, cow.
Yeah.
I got to bring up our ride swap because we're going to make this happen.
Okay.
What advice would you give me if I got my, my thick fire suit on, I got a helmet on, and I'm sitting in that unit? What do you say?
So I want to give you some numbers first, and this is really more for your audience because I know we got NASCAR people watching.
Yep.
These things go 0 to 100 in 0.8 of a second.
Wow.
0.8. They go 200 in 2 seconds.
Okay.
And they go 300 in tick over 3 seconds. So my advice, and this goes actually for everybody in drag racing and really kind of what y'all do too. When you stage that thing, you pick a target. Like obviously you're looking at the Christmas tree, but as you're getting ready to stage, it's just like shooting a gun. You pick a target, you look at the Christmas tree, then you go right back to your target and hold on. I mean,
what would the target be? Just kind of like in between the mayonnaise and the mustard?
As far down as you can find something.
And then is it like Star Trek freaking late, like blurriness?
No.
Are you noticing fans?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you've been doing it for 100 years.
Yeah.
But
early on,
would I be like looking like I would be going to the light?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, there is no describing it. I mean, the moment you hit the throttle, they're 4.5 Gs. The moment you hit the throttle. And then as the clutch starts to come in, we're talking 200 to 400 feet down the racetrack. On a good run, it's over 6 Gs. Over 6. I mean, they're...
So it's actually adding G load throughout all the way to the end of the run. And then it's a negative G load when you pull the chutes.
Yeah, anywhere from -4 to 11, kind of how you open the chutes, yeah. Yeah, it is the ultimate roller coaster ride. I've done a lot of cool stuff.
What racetrack would you want to run a cup car at?
Man, tell me this. This is a serious question. So I grew up watching dirt cars at Riverside International at West Memphis, Arkansas. Sammy Swindale, grew up watching him. So I kind of I love short track racing, but I think that it has to be a blast to go in the corner, not with 38 other cars probably, but at Talladega. Or is that just hold on and...
Daytona it races
narrow,
smaller.
Yep.
So the action's higher, and it's got more content in the track.
Yep.
So I think for just a driving experience to just mash it,
yeah.
but also feel like you're kind of moving around and the car's moving and
Yep.
bouncing around Daytona over Talladega. Now Daytona is or Talladega rather, the handling doesn't really come into play because it's just like chess and you're trying to move your chess piece in front at the right time. It's all electric, but I would go Daytona over Talladega if I was picking But if I would recommend one for you, I would go Martinsville because you can just dragster one way, just stop, turn, downshift, dragster another way, and then I feel like you'd be right at home.
Shift now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You shift now. Now, I do got to tell you, I have some other circle track experience, kind of. I did the Cletus McFarland 2.4 hours of Les Mullets.
Did you? Where was that at?
At Bradenton.
Yeah.
Which is the old DeSoto.
Is that his track he owns?
Yeah.
The Freedom Factory.
Yeah.
We need to be on. We need to get on that. We are dropping the ball, not.
Cletus. Let's connect us to Cletus.
Yeah.
Cletus, love to have you on the show, but you're doing a lot of cool stuff, especially him and Biffle were.
Oh, that was so cool what they did.
Him and Cletus and his wife, dude. I was captivated watching Cletus's. He had a GoPro on his helmet, flying that freaking helicopter. That was so sick.
You had a guy with you at Charlotte who is like an influencer, builds really cool cars. What was his name?
Oh my goodness, who did I have with me?
He was super cool and super interesting, and I wanted to talk to him. He said he was a fan of the show, but my kid was about to piss his pants, and I was chasing my kid around to try to go to the bathroom, and he's like, "Hey man," I was like, "Hey," and I kind of cut him off, but I felt bad, but I wanted to go back and see him.
He probably thinks
but when you have little kids, you're
when it's time to go, you got to go.
I got to make sure he doesn't pee his pants, because it's gonna be a long ride home. And I never got to reach back out to him, but yeah, I'll look him up and give him a shout out. But yes, that is cool that you said that. We need to get on that.
Dude, that was so much fun. And so it wasn't just circle track. We went through the infield, so they made it a kidney bean deal.
Okay.
It was so fun. I raced with Travis Pastrana and Jeremy McGrath. They were in my group.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty cool.
Well, that's a star-studded lineup.
Yeah.
Get me in. We'll do a Stag and Pennies team next year, Clay. But you're no different than any other guest. You are our first NHRA Top Fuel driver we had on the show, so thank you for coming in.
Absolutely.
You've been so courteous with your time. But we asked 3 questions to all of our guests. If you had question number 1, generally it's a NASCAR guy, but the question is, if you had to pick one car and one track to race at the rest of your life, what do you go with? And yours is to be open-ended. It could be a dragster and a track. It could be a stock car and a circle track.
So y'all know I listen to the show all the time, so obviously I've kind of thought about these questions ahead of time. So that would be the Werner Enterprises Top Fuel Dragster, Rockingham.
Ooh,
The Rock. And here's the reason why. During my IHRA days, I raced the IHRA series for 7 years. We raced there twice a year, and I won that thing 11 or 12 times.
What was it about that track that just...
Man, I don't know, but it's like we just couldn't lose.
Well, there was one year that you made the finals every round.
Every
race.
Every race. Won them all but one. And I was in the final of it, yeah.
Why'd you beat them up on so bad?
Man,
should have let somebody else
win.
win.
Bonus checks were good.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So you're going IHRA Werner
Rockingham.
car at Rockingham.
Love it.
I love that.
And it doesn't matter what year, 01 to 06. That was our
prime time.
That was prime time, yeah.
Love that. We need to go. I'm excited. Trucks next year. You're going back to the circle track there. I might try to find me a truck ride too. Question number 2. What is your most embarrassing moment at the racetrack?
Also very easy.
Okay.
My very first national event in a Top Fuel car. Route 66 Raceway, Joliet, right by the speedway there. I am the first car ever to pull out on that racetrack, Top Fuel car. We're sponsored by the Chicago White Sox. One race deal. My very first ever race. I do a burnout going forward, and I kind of did one going backwards.
How does that work?
Driver's an idiot.
You'll have that sometimes.
Yep, you'll have that sometimes. Luckily, it broke the reverser, and it wasn't like a big deal, but I did get called. In y'all's case, I got called to the truck to find out what the heck I was doing, and they're like, we don't know where you come from, but hope you didn't quit your job.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Now,
It
is that
worked
just
out
too
okay.
much, like your T-shirt saying your website? Is that just too much loud pedal going backwards, or what is that?
That was a guy that tried to act like he knew more than he did, and the honest truth is I started pulling. I thought it was idling too fast, and I started pulling back on the throttle. Y'all are both car guys. Heim joint, I pulled back hard enough, I flipped it under, so it pulled the throttle. Yeah. And you wouldn't think you would be strong enough, but man, when you're in a race car, you're really strong.
So you're amped up.
You just shut it down at that point? Like, oh.
Well, it broke the reverser, kept running. Thank goodness it quit going backwards, and yeah, I shut it off. But yeah, highly, highly embarrassed. I had quit my job the week before.
Is everybody looking around like, what is this guy doing?
Oh yeah, you're the first guy out there, and place is packed, and it's kind of like somebody in their first run at Daytona that about killed Clint Boyer.
That was me.
Yeah, that was you. Yeah,
at Daytona 500. That was my first ever green flag piss up at Daytona. That son did not want to slow down for 200 miles an hour. You can YouTube
I've got
that
a
one
good
too.
story about that. Before the race, I walked down there. Sorry, Randy. And I said, hey, man, just don't mess this up getting on and off pit road. And Randy goes, who gives a about pit road? We've got way more to worry about than that. I was like, okay.
No. Come to find out, that was the only thing that I should have won.
Well, it's something that I feel like that's, it's something that you don't do.
That was my first
at the
ever
lower levels,
Yeah.
So.
That unit got on the front splitter and locked the front tires up, and I was like, oh, no. Then it hit the outside, almost hit Clint, hit the outside wall. That was probably one of my most embarrassing. I've had plenty of embarrassing moments at the racetrack, but these are your questions, not mine, Clay. If I had a Men in Black pen and I zapped all of your memories, but you had to only keep one, what is that?
Man, that's the simplest, easiest answer of the 3 questions. Won all those races in the IHRA, 51 races, 6 championships, but I could not win an NHRA race to save myself. 250-some starts, longest streak for anybody to have never won.
I relate to this.
And, yeah, you can. So, Bristol, 2017, Father's Day, just a couple years after losing my kid. They do this really cool deal. They put the dads in the back of the truck. They parade you down. I don't want nothing to do with none of it. Father's Day, not a good day for me.
Yeah.
Won my first ever NHRA race on Father's Day.
Hey.
Wow.
He's riding along with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's an easy one.
That's cool.
That's an easy
obviously
one.
That wasn't the answer that I expect when the Daytona 500 of NHRA.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool though. That's a great story.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, I've had in the media stuff after the U.S. Nationals. I've said that after I won that because I've won other races, thank goodness, since then. And I've always said nothing will ever top that. And after I won Indy, that was a question: is it bigger or not? I know it's a bigger race, but it's not bigger to me.
Yeah.
That's
for
awesome.
me and my family and my, whatever. Yeah. Winning on Father's Day. And it made Father's Day okay.
That's right.
That was a cool Father's Day gift.
Well, that's a great story.
That is a great story.
I appreciate you sharing that and all the other stuff. I appreciate being a teammate to you over
Absolutely.
RWR. Keep up the good work on your side. We're going to be doing some more stuff together, where it's on YouTube or whatever. Trying to get a little education from you. You've been doing this for a long time. Got it all figured out. Still trying to figure it out. You've got something going. But overall, good guy. Excited to see what the future holds for you, RWR, and myself, and I appreciate you jumping on Stag and Pennies with us.
Man, this has been really, really cool. It's fun to come to the Nonsense Garage and hang out with you guys. And
this is where the magic happens, buddy.
It's pretty cool. You got quite the setup going on here.
Give the fans your first reaction when you walk in here? Everybody's like, oh man, it looks like different. Yes, of course, when it's 1080p, you're looking at us through some nice cameras. It looks very nice. It's just a garage,
but it's really cool the way it's all set up. And again, I typically listen to y'all, but I am jealous of the Rowdy Burns. I am going to tell you that. The fire suit behind you back there.
We need a wing off of your car in here.
Oh
somewhere.
man, how cool would that be?
We can hang it from one of the rafters.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Like a nose wing or whatever you think is cool. We need a relic.
Yeah, we need to make that happen.
That is a one of one. Don't ask me how I got it. I have to kill you. But that is a...
You can ask me. I know how I got it.
Michael Rooker signed Rowdy Burns fire suit.
You know, I really... Y'all can go ahead and cut this off, whatever you got to do here, but I got to tell you, I'm watching the end of the race yesterday, and I was thinking about you, Ryan, you and Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm like, go to the outside. You can hold it.
Yeah.
And that's what Tyler did to y'all yesterday.
Yeah, it was tough. I was telling, and you know this, I was telling him, we've all raced our whole lives and been in different situations, and I don't think we've ever felt the pressure that we felt yesterday, and Ryan included, just coming down to the end of that race. But, the good thing for us, and I think it's a gift, and I think if you went to any like psychiatrist or anything, they'd tell you it was wrong, but you deal with it for a day and then you're back to Martinsville, right? You don't have a month to think about it. I know there's the NHRA race, you have some time. If you lose a final in a way that you don't want to, you might have to sit on that for a month, and all you want to do after that is get back to the track. Like, let me get to the next one. Let me get to practice.
That happened 2 weeks ago, right?
Let's get this gone.
Where was it?
Dallas.
So yeah.
2 weeks ago, Dallas. I lost in the final on a hole shot.
Yeah, and
Points
you
right
just
at the
want to
driver.
you just want to get back to the track.
Yeah, and I had to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah. So that but it's the gift of getting back to work this week and going to Martinsville, and it's one that's going to sting. But thank God, man, I've left Phoenix losing the championship on a pit stop and had to wait all off season, and I still feel that. So I'm excited for our team to go forward.
Well, guys, that's Clay Millican right here in the Nonsense Garage. Thanks for stopping by, Clay. This Pit Road Boats and Woes coming up right after this.
It all comes down to this, Martinsville. One last shot to race for a title. The greatest fear? Being left out in the cold. Don't be on the outside, be on the inside. It's NASCAR Inside the Playoffs on True TV and Max.
All right, guys, we are back for some Pit Road Boats and Woes. The biggest woe of the weekend was not on pit road, I believe. It was on the spotter stand. And there was an absolute swarm of bees attacking those guys. What? Dude, that is bizarre. You're going to have bee sting repellent cool shirts up there from now on.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's what you need. I don't understand how that. Yeah, I don't understand. There must have been
Those guys were gladiators up there.
I don't know why it showed up on Sunday though, and not on Friday or not on Saturday for the doubleheader.
Cow.
I wonder what the difference was.
Well, a couple of those guys are so sweet. They just came out to go try to find a guy like Freddie Kraft, take a bite out of.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. That's terrible because you can't do anything, right? You can't move.
Yeah,
you gotta
dude.
watch the race,
and you're committed. Like, what do you do?
I did hear some chatter between Trey Poole and Chase Elliott. He's like, I'm trying not to get stung up here.
Yeah,
I might have to move. Hold on.
That's wild. Where do you just move into the grandstands? I don't know.
I don't know what you do. Because
hopefully nobody
was
was allergic.
Not a ton of room, right? Everybody kind of has a spot, and they have their tape that tells them everything, and they kind of have like, I don't know. Some of them look like they set up monitors.
They
up
do.
there
They got iPads for SMT running. They got a whole freaking cubicle of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into being
the other woe wasn't over the wall. Actually, it was underneath the wall because the issue on the Xfinity race was the 7 team, shout out Mark Hollywood Armstrong, dumped the cooler halfway during the race and unfortunately didn't measure the pitch of behind the wall because all the water ran right on a pit road.
I could not believe this. I texted Higgy right away. I'm like, Higgy, pull this because this is a huge deal. Because what's going to happen if that water stays out there is when the 7 comes in the pit, he's going to run through it, and right when he gets on the brakes, he's just going to slide
right
through his pit box. So that was a big miss. Yeah, that was a big miss on somebody's part. Ludwig out there just like, give us some speedy dry.
Open that unit up.
That's a lot of water too. And the problem is with the sun setting, right? You need 2 things to help you dry a racetrack or water: wind and sun. And with the sun setting, it takes twice as long because the pit road's in shade. So yeah,
it never ceases. You will inevitably see something you've never seen before in NASCAR any given week.
Yeah,
something like that.
That was bad.
Somebody's dumping the cooler all over pit road. Next up here, we got Chandler Smith driving the 81, Joe Gibbs racing Camry.
So they've got a left side adjustment here. So they got to wait on the jack. So Chandler must be watching his tire changers, and he tries to drive off the jack. You can't leave until the jack's dropped.
What? And now
the jack gets jammed under the car. So you see Franco's rear changer. He's been around a long time. He's smart enough to go and jack up underneath the rear end, and they get it out. But it kills the rocker. He went to go jack up under the fuel cell or under the rear. It seemed like they got it out before.
Oh, and then it just gets all cockeyed junior.
Yeah, it's just bad. But can't drive off the jack, man. No. Chandler Smith was very vocal after the race too. Just like, I don't have a job and be working construction next year. This time of year is tough in the industry for a lot of people. It's not for the faint of heart. If you want a job that is guaranteed every year, don't be a race car driver. It is very tough.
Yeah. We have talked about those particular reasons a lot the last couple weeks. Pretty straightforward. You want to buy some fun tokens, you can go wherever you want to and buy some fun tokens. We'll get that later in the show. A little bit of a woe, close call between the 99 and the 9. Clear out of the 9. 99 coming in his box.
Wow. Yeah, they both did a really good job not crashing, and the 99 did a great job getting into his pit stall. That's really tough as a pit crew guy, because you're looking at your jump line, and it gets like, whoa, and then you jump late. That's how you end up on the hood of cars. So that was a good job by everybody involved. See the next one from Reddick Sync car, see MJ standing back there. I did see that the 45 had a rough go at it once or twice, but at the end of the day, they put their guy in contention to win the race. Yeah,
just slippery.
Higgy just said, he just mentioned earlier here that he couldn't leave the pit box. Now, the challenging part about this pit road, and see, they're scrubbing this, but they're at the wrong point. It's at the concrete ends right in front of the pit box.
Yeah.
So you have grip until you get to the asphalt. So it's right there that they lose grip. And they're not racing to that yellow line. It's important to say. If you rewind it, you're racing to the white line. So it's
like
it's that white line right there. So here we go. We're launching
right there.
That white line. But yeah, it's the same thing last week you saw in Vegas. It's why the 20 car picked pit stall 6. the concrete switches to asphalt right away, so you don't get any of the runway. The concrete inherently has more grip to launch. And the minute you go, just like we'll see this weekend, from concrete to asphalt, you lose grip. So you are still trying to grip up spinning tires, and then you go to the asphalt and you lose even more, so the car stalls out.
Scary moment here with the 17. I believe this was maybe the first or second pit stop of the day.
Man, I didn't
Gets
see any
turned by old Richard. It's hard on this pit road here. You're trying to find your box. Guys are peeling off in front of you. You're looking down at your lights, making sure you're not speeding. A couple bumps from guys behind you, and the 17 backwards in his box.
Oof.
They ended up pitting that unit.
Yeah, the 5 car has to stop as well. It sets them behind. Man, that's a really tough situation. More cars, more and more cars are.
Oh,
wow,
boy.
From the 3's view. This
Holy
is a
cow. The Jackman
convoluted mess.
Jackman ended up on the hood. I feel like that happened.
More cars.
Maybe when Zane was driving the 17 at Gateway last year.
Gateway. Same thing. Narrow pit road. More cars on pit road. More cars on the lead lap than ever because the next gen car is closer. More cars on the lead lap. Narrow pit road. Walls on both sides. And it just gets very challenging, very tight real quick.
But you were telling me that you guys had your probably best day at the racetrack ever. You were proud about that.
Yeah, we had a great day. So we came in the end of the first stage, and we came in 4th, went out with the lead. Had our best average that Penske's ever had in the next gen era we've ever had.
Which was what?
It was like a 890 or 9 flat, somewhere right in there. It was a great day. I think our fastest stop was a low 8. Our slowest stop was like a 9.3. This is where we came in 4th and came out the lead. Beat some really good pit crews, 23-9. 77 also shout out to them. They had a great day. And then this stop is the end of the second stage. Come in second and go out with the lead as well, which
love to see it.
We end up leading pretty much the whole second stage. The 9 short pitted us, jumped us real quick. We got right back by him, and we were on the road to glory. Got him. So love that, man. Love executing at a high level this time of year. It just feels different. Playoff pit stops hit different. That leads us to the dogs of the week. And I don't want to do it, but when you're hot, you're hot. So
you gonna take it?
It's the 12 team.
Wow.
I haven't given it to the 12 team all year.
I don't think you've given it to them ever.
I've
last year.
I've given ourselves a dogs of the week in the history of stacking pennies, but not this year. I don't like doing it. I'm not one to toot my own horn. In a world full of horn tooters, I try not to be one. But this weekend,
toot.
Yeah, our guys deserve it. Trevor Apsey, Jordan Osinski, Zach Price, rear changer.
Dog.
Chris Conklin, absolute dog on the gas can. Yours truly, just trying to keep up with those guys. And, our guys behind the wall, we show.
How's the body feeling being old like
my
you
body?
are?
I feel young and spry better than I ever have.
Yeah?
Good luck to all these NFL athletes that are coming in trying to compete with this mediocre New Jersey high school wrestler. I'll see you guys next caution.
You can get the work anytime. Is it the cold bass? What do you think it is?
It's a little bit of everything. It's more
plyometrics.
It's what's between the ears, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you got to beat them. Because I'm not going to beat them with the muscles.
No, or speed, or looks.
But that being said,
or body fat percentage.
None of it matters. None of it matters. If body fat percentage equaled pit stop time, I wouldn't be too good.
No, you wouldn't.
But
good thing it doesn't relate.
Good thing it doesn't. And if I need to take a little bit of weight off, if I'm feeling a little heavy, I slide a couple of rings off my fingers and it knocks some weight down. So that's good. But yeah. Anyway.
Well, you're really only cutting weight.
You keep cutting me off on my dogs of the week. I'm gonna lose my mind. I wanted to give a shout out for Sean when he cuts this on Thursday, for our road crew guys as well, because we saw this week how important that is. Brett McCutcheon's, Ray Fox, Mule, everybody behind the wall. It's such a important part of pit stops and being able to be consistent. I saw a lot of hoses getting stuck under cars and different things, tires not getting caught or getting rolled in the wrong way, and to have that cohesiveness not only over the wall but behind the wall is it means a lot this time of year. So we'll go to Martinsville and try to do it again.
Well, good luck.
Appreciate you.
That's all the woes, but we do have some hashtag penny for your thoughts.
First one's from Danny. How mad is Skip at Cam Moist? So Cameron Moist works here at NASCAR. He is part of our Stack and Pennies crew. We have a Stack and Pennies group chat. And yesterday I get back to the truck, look at my phone, and Cam Moist is like, "Let's go, Reddick!" Like 4 checkered flags all pumped up. And I sent him the middle finger. Like, read the room, Moist. And then he sent me back.
He didn't wait 5 seconds.
I didn't see it till we got back to the truck, but then he sent me, "Oh man, sorry, I didn't know." I'm like, "Moist, I'm just messing with you. It's fine."
So 1 out of 10.
Me?
10.
How mad am I?
Big mad?
0. I'm not mad at him at all.
Okay.
I'm just disappointed. Next question. We kind of covered this earlier, but it's good. Let's talk through it one more time. Should NASCAR move the championship race back to Homestead?
Alternate it.
One thing everybody at Homestead should know that is worth noting here. Genuinely, Homestead does not do well on ticket sales. I don't know if it's because of the market. I don't know what it is. If you want to see Homestead be the championship race, go. Sell that place out. If you sell that place out, they will bring it back. They did not leave because of the racing, right? And at the end of the day, it's still entertainment. You have to have seats. So, everybody talks about how great Homestead is. It's one of the best racetracks. Go to the race. Go watch. Be there in person. And, man, it's such a great part of the country. You can go down to the Keys. You can go over to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, wherever you want to be, over to the Everglades. Get to Homestead next year. Support that racetrack. If you do, it could be your 2026 finale.
That's right.
Last question from Time Trial Guy. Indoor season is coming. Given enough practice, who is faster in a TQ midget? You don't have to answer, Corey. I would kick your ass bad.
I think the only really metric we have to really hypothesize about this is Field Filler Fairgrounds wins.
I got you beat on that.
I don't think so.
I got you beat on that. We can pull the tape, dog. You had to retire.
My mom made me retire because I flipped over.
Your mom made you retire once. But you won early. I won often.
That's wrong.
That's how it went.
I would be at a weight disadvantage because you cut down to what, 165 probably.
Weren't you talking about my body fat percentage earlier in the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get down to 170.
I'm fat.
Well, it's also like a little bit
That's smoky.
I was thinking about this, and we'll be quick, but it was a little bit of in season how much I have to exert my body to change tires. I have to inherently eat more to store that energy back. It's like not to this extreme, but like NFL players, like the minute they're done playing, they lose weight because you just stop having to take it all in. Real quick, couple shout outs. Justin Bonsignor, congrats.
Did he lock the championship up?
He won his 45th race, second all time on that list, and he has won his 4th NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour champion. What is this? You guys have a video here?
Hi, I'm Flying Flores, and I powder coach. I interview people and I do pit stops.
Real nice, Bonsignor. Real nice. He should still thank me for.
I think his interpretation is actually pretty spot on.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I take back all the nice things I said about him. I wish that Ronnie Silk won. You, Justin. And I'm going to say the only reason Justin won is because he has a great pit crew and an awesome crew chief in Ryan Stone.
That's right.
You, Justin. Austin Hill, man, good job to them RCR guys. I said it on Around the Track last week. Homestead is a place where pit crews matter, and they showed up. They had a great day. Awesome job to them.
The finger. Grand end finger.
Dude, shout out.
He's got that 19 humming, buddy.
Yeah,
Jeff Stenkowitz. Race for a championship.
Yeah, we got the crew chief wrong last time. Jeff Stenkowitz, man, great job to them. We said Jimmy
Hensley.
Yeah, we were wrong. Jeff Stenkowitz and Grant Enfinger have made that team so great. Man, 7th career playoff win for them, but only their second win with CR7. Great job. Putting some pressure on them boys.
He's dude. Imagine, I mean, that'd be the Cinderella story of all Cinderella stories if they can take that CR7 team and win a championship with it. They're gonna be racing for one.
Yes,
they're the hottest team as of late.
Absolutely.
Straight up beating the big dogs.
Anything grind your gears before we get out of here?
I was gonna say no, but I think that truck incident with Connor Jones kind of ground my gears.
I don't know him. I didn't know who he was before this. Is that bad?
Driver of the 66 truck.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Apparently he knows Matt Mills, and he was tired of his
So Cody, who works the powder coat shop, changed his tires for Matt Mills, and he said that there has been a couple instances this year between them. And it's always, you know, when you wreck somebody, but when they end up hurt, you feel really bad about it.
Yeah.
So that
I heard smoke inhalation is the reason why they kept them at the hospital.
Dude, at the end of the day, driving race cars is dangerous. And when you wreck somebody, you have to factor that in. It's not iRacing, right? You have to factor in, hey, if you're going to ship this guy, if you're going to do it, you got to live with the consequences.
That's right.
And the thing that I did not like from Connor Jones, the immaturity of it, is when people came up to ask him about it, he tucked tail, ran away. I have no comment. Grow up.
Yeah. Be a man.
Yeah.
Got to answer it.
I
think probably Connor Jones' dad is going to have to write NASCAR a big fat check.
Well, that's how it goes.
That is how it goes.
I had a funny grind your gears today. I was in the seat shop bending up some panels for my indoor car, and I saw that a couple guys had Ryan Flores shirts on, Flow Coating shirts on. I'm like, man, where do you guys get all them shirts from? And they said, oh, Corey brings all the shirts he doesn't wear and throw it out, and he gives them to all of us. So I said, damn, you find out who your friends are. So first and foremost, if you want some great Ryan Flores merch, it's not secondhand by my Cup driver buddy. You can go to my Instagram page, RyanFloresMotorsports.com. Got some great shirts on there.
I keep the latest one.
And so Corey, also, if you don't want to pay for it, you can come to the seat shop on any random Wednesday. And Corey seems to drop off all his laundry here that he doesn't want.
There's a cardboard box. So a lot of Spire in that box, as well as some Ryan Flores.
Yeah, you find out mixed in with the 7 gear could be some 15 or 79 modified shirts.
Get it while it's hot.
But you can go get your own size, not a hand-me-down, at RyanFloresMotorsports.com.
I forgot that I put those in there.
Yeah, I didn't. I did not. I will never forget, actually. Good that you say that.
That's funny. That's all I got. Yeah.
Join us. Spare change this week. We'll talk through Martinsville, man. A big week at Martinsville. It's going to be an awesome race. It's my favorite race of the year. We got Halloween this week. Kids, we're going trick-or-treating together. What are kids being?
Levi's going to be Batman. I gotta get Jensen something. He was Lightning McQueen at Talladega, but he didn't want to wear like the
whole thing.
Car.
Yeah. Just get him a shirt.
Yeah. I wish he would cooperate and wear like a Joker costume, but he doesn't like wearing anything besides sweatpants and a shirt.
Yeah. Cruz is being Goofy. Harper is being Red from Descendants. That means that the Mad Hatter is in that movie, so I am the Mad Hatter.
Nice.
Chris is Minnie Mouse. So yeah, we are in the stage of life where everybody dresses up together.
I like that. It's fun for me.
It's fun.
We're going to cruise on over to your neighborhood and get some candy. And you're going to cruise on over to YouTube to watch this, or you're going to cruise on over to SiriusXM Channel 90 or wherever you find your podcasts and like us and download us and share, rate, review. Going to the paperclip this weekend, trying to fight for a grandfather clock. You've got a couple of those. I've got one of those. It's just an all-timer, one of our favorite races, and the last opportunity for somebody in that round of 8 to punch their ticket, race for a championship. So good luck to you guys in that 12 team. You guys deserve it. Did it last year. See if you guys got to do it again. You're going to have to tune into it. 2 o'clock on NBC, daytime race, early start time-ish. And that hopefully we can have a decent day with the old 51 Ford Mustang as well as you guys. So tune in. Thanks for stacking pennies this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you next week. Goodbye.